I'm really excited to spend the next hour with you all, and I hope you find some value out of it. We have an international audience today, a very international audience, and not everyone's English is at the same level. I also have quite a strong accent. If there's anything I say that you don't understand, please just ask in the chat, and Ratta will either give an answer or she'll interrupt me. Or you can bring it up when we go to questions, it's no problem. I also just want to acknowledge my bias. So the designers and researchers that I've hired have been in Europe. I haven't hired anyone in Southeast Asia yet. So you may have different views on what I share today, and that's okay. But I hope I can still give some new ideas, some fresh ideas for wherever you are in your career journeys. So let's start with, what is a portfolio? Start at the beginning. So here is a definition. A portfolio is a compilation of work and experience that present a designer's skills, expertise, and achievements. It showcases their design process, problem-solving abilities, skill and quality, and importantly, the impact of their work. So when you're creating portfolios, case studies, yes, you should showcase your process, your research methods, how you solve the problem. You need to show clearly what problem it was that you were solving and how you knew that it was a problem worth solving. And then what was the impact of what was built or created. It should also demonstrate how you think and how you analyze, how you work as part of a team, and your presentation skills. But this is also a problem with portfolios because they focus on the past. As a hiring manager, I want to know where you are now and where it is you're going. So a portfolio can actually be more than just a web page or a PDF. You might choose to highlight your LinkedIn profiles, any relevant social media presence, side projects that you're working on, community work. So if you mentor on ADPList or elsewhere, make sure people know that. And maybe even share some of your life outside of work, because as a hiring manager, I want to know the person, not just the employee. Portfolios can also damage creativity. Many people think that they must follow a specific format. And so many portfolios today actually look the same as each other, as if they're coming from a template. Many tend to be essays, long walls of text that I'm never going to read. So I want to encourage you to think a little bit more creatively, like what is the best way to present your work? It may not be as a web page or as a PDF. There may be other ways that you can demonstrate what you've worked on and what impact you've had. And I also just want to acknowledge not everyone has the luxury to create a perfect portfolio. You may not be able to afford the software to create a nice portfolio. You may not have the space in your life to create one because you have a family or your job is very intensive. You might need to find a job at short notice and you don't have time to produce something. Or you may not have the permission to share things that you have worked on. So what I'd like to say to you all is that a good portfolio, like any project, it takes a lot of time and effort, and those things can be a luxury. So while portfolios are useful, I very much believe you do not need a portfolio. What you do need to do is to demonstrate your abilities, your experience, and the quality of your work. And I want to encourage you all to think, what is the best way to do that fits in with the resources and the time that you have available. So for me as a hiring manager, a portfolio can actually be anything that you want it to be. As long as it tells a very clear story, it's well structured, and it helps me to assess if you're a suitable fit for the job that I'm hiring for. So let's get into, before I get into the specifics of some practical tips. Actually, the first time Ratta and I ran these sessions, we ran a much longer session that shares my experience as a hiring manager, the sorts of things that I'm looking for, common mistakes that people make in portfolios, how to do a self-review on your portfolio. If you want to just screenshot the slide that's on screen now, that link or that QR code will take you to a 20-minute video recording where there's more details, and hopefully you can get something useful out of that. So I'll give you a few more seconds before I move on to capture the link. Okay. So I do like, whenever we're running a workshop or a session like this, to make sure that you have something practical you can use in real life tomorrow. So before we get into the portfolio reviews, I'd just like to share some thoughts on practical tips. Before I get into my 10, the number one thing you should think about when you're constructing your work samples, your portfolio, trying to tell the story of what you have done, is what is the change in the world that happened as a result of your work. So whether you were designing a new product, iterating on an existing service, prototyping an idea, how did you improve the lives of those people that you were designing for? That should be the number one thing that you explain to me as a reader, as a hiring manager. Aesthetics, interaction, brand, even the solution itself. Those are all important, but they are secondary to what is the impact of your work. Okay, so looking at the bullet list, 10 practical tips. Less is more. Be focused and be concise, especially with your words. You need to show clarity of thought. So if you write a paragraph, I'm probably not going to read it because I have to review 10 portfolios, which means I have to read 10 paragraphs. If you can get that paragraph down to a single sentence and just communicate the real essence, that's helping me to understand your work much, much quicker. Don't make me think, is what I'm saying. Clear structure and headings. I'm probably not going to read body text. So a document structure, headings that let me know what each section is, headings that I can scan and understand what it is you're trying to tell me. And then helping me to scan where you do have to have body text or details, highlight things that you want to draw my attention to. So maybe in a sentence, you might highlight 3 or 4 words that are the key thing. Because again, as a hiring manager, I'm actually not reading your entire case study, your entire piece of work. I'm actually just scanning. I'm looking at the pictures. I'm jumping between the headings, keywords that stand out. So help me to scan. Typesetting, typography, it's not just for graphic designers. Everyone benefits from knowing a little bit, and you can use that to engage your audience. Actually, the alignment of your words, the font that you use, the size of the text, all of that is actually going to help me to read the information that you're trying to communicate. Ratta, can you just, are you on Justin, would you mind just going to mute, please? Thank you. Images over words. So we all know a picture says 1,000 words. They're also much quicker to process. So instead of that paragraph that I have to read word for word and understand what you're trying to tell me, if you have a picture of a whiteboard with a sketch on it, I know immediately not only how you work, but how you work with other people and what your process is. On process, I really want to see the messiness behind the end result. I want to know how you got there and who was involved. So yes, if you have a beautifully designed interface or a perfect user journey at the end of your work, that's great. But what is more interesting is how did you get to that? Because everyone comes up with a solution, right? Solutions may be good, solutions may be bad. But actually, do you have a repeatable process that helps you to get to a suitable solution? That's what I'm interested in. Collaboration. You need to show me that you include as many people as possible in the design process, whether that's other members of your team that aren't designers or researchers, whether that's business stakeholders and decision makers, the people that you're working for, or even the customers or the end users that you're designing for. Involve them in the process and show me that you do that. Failure equals learning. I'm sure many people have heard of fail fast. So we actually learn the most from failure because that, when we fail, we have to think again and find another way to find success. So show me the mistakes that you've made, how you recovered from that, and what it was you learned. That's going to give me confidence that I can hire you, put you into any situation, and you'll be able to figure it out for yourself. Evidence. So not just text, right? Photos, videos, whiteboards, sticky notes, screenshots, prototypes. Use a variety of different media to actually to provide the evidence of the work that you did. And finally, on your portfolio, on your case studies, get feedback before you start showing it to hiring managers. Get it proofread. Spelling and grammar, language, tone of voice, readability, these things are all really important. And they can actually, they put me off, because if I read your portfolio or your work and there's small details that you've missed, that doesn't give me the confidence that you won't miss those details if I hire you. So you need to make sure those easy things are taken care of. Cool. Okay. End of 101 class. So we're going to spend the next 45 minutes doing live portfolio reviews. I've not seen any of these before. As Ratta said, we'll spend about 5 minutes per person. So Ratta will just interrupt when we get to time, and we'll move on. What I will do is I will be thinking aloud. So I will be loading someone's portfolio that is shared. I'm just going to narrate what I think with my hiring manager hat on, seeing something for the first time, and the ways that I process and assess things. My feedback style is quite frank, so I will be very direct. I want to offer straightforward feedback. So sometimes it may be positive, sometimes it may be constructive criticism. But please understand, I'm not criticizing anyone's work. I just want to give you that honest feedback that you can choose then if you want to take action on. And you'll see on the slides there's some specific examples of questions. So don't just say, look at my portfolio, right? That's actually not very helpful. Ask a specific question. If there's something you want an answer to, or you want a particular angle for me to look at, make that clear. Because just doing a generic looking at a portfolio is difficult to assess without any guidelines. So with that, while I change my screen share, Ratta, do you want to just make a start?
Yes. So can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I think
my voice is recorded.
No.
Hang on.
Can you hear me, Jane?
Okay, so I've got a small technical problem. I need to just reload the page so I can do my screen share. So I will be right back.
Okay. So for during the call, you can ask him anything for 5 minutes. So right now I have 6 portfolio there.
Who's the first link?
Yep, I sent to the chat. I think Brian gonna be the first link.
Smoggy niece. Great. Let me turn my screen share back on. Okay. Sorry, I'm having a technical problem. Just a moment. Time lucky.
Okay, Jane, we can
see you.
Yeah, I'm just trying. Okay, there, it should work now. Okay, so we've got the, it's now, we'll just say it's 20 past. What is the request for this portfolio? What am I looking at?
So Brian, you can turn on microphone.
Hey, so everyone. I'm Brian. I'm UX writer from Thailand. My biggest goal to land a job abroad in the same job. And my question for James Cook is about how I structure my portfolio in terms of the first project that you see on the website. And the project is called multi-channel notification on BitCup. I kind of made an overview, a summary of the project very upfront. And then when you scroll down, you can see the full case study, the contents, and that leads to the questions about, is it too long? Simply, that's the question. And if that is too long, what should I truncate and what should I keep during, scanning? Oh, thank you for melting. It's kind of echoed recently.
Jim, we cannot
Unmute, James.
I cannot hear you too. Yeah.
Apologies. Is that coming through now?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. So multi-channel notifications on BitCub. New feature launch, okay. Something to do with notifications and SMS. Results, aligned approaches to improve verification process. I don't really know what that means. That's quite jargon language. But okay, so you've got a picture here. SMS, line, app notification. Tell me what BitCub is. Okay, challenge. Thai citizens need to get onto the app to complete verification. There's a chance that they don't follow though. Okay, I mean, I don't know what that means. There's a chance they don't follow through. You probably need to explain that better. Contribution as a UX writer, I define content structure, content surface, tone, cultural nuances, coordinated with stakeholders. Cool, yeah, I like that. Outcome, designs have potential to prevent drop-off. So I like that you've got these summaries here. Those are nice and easy to read. I don't know if that brown background is helping. It makes it a little bit harder to read for me. I would just yeah. So oh wow, okay, full case study. So I see what you mean by is it too long? Yeah, I'm just never going to read this. Let's just take this here, right? This may be really, really relevant information. It's too much because the key thing to remember for a hiring manager, let's say you get 20 applications to a job, that's 20 portfolios you need to review.
Right.
It's very, very time consuming. So what I would actually do in real life is I would do what I just did. I would read the beginning to get some context, and then I'm just going to scroll and read. So, okay, challenge, value proposition. This is actually not accurate, right? BitCub needed a smooth identity verification process to gain customers. I would challenge that because no business ever needs a smooth identity verification process to gain customers, right? It's back to front. No customer is interested in verification. It's just something we have to do, like to live in the world. So actually a verification process, login, sign up, all these things get in the way of what we actually want to do. So this is not a value proposition. If anything, it's a problem statement that you have to design around, right? You're trying to make the verification process as low friction as possible. I can understand better that way. Okay, so I'm going to look at the images, verification process. I'm guessing this is as is. Defining goals with stakeholders, strategy. Okay, so you've got 3 channels.
I am not even sure if the definition. If explaining the definition of channel is
yeah. What I would suggest you do, and this is a very general technique.
Right.
Create a new version of this case study and set yourself a limit of you have to remove 50% of the words and see what happens.
Remove it by
just delete. Whether you rewrite some things or you just remove words. What I'm trying to say is that there's too much words here and I'm not going to read it. I'm actually, you can see how slow these images are loading. So like even just scrolling slowly, there's so much content here. It's too much.
Or should I change on the text to images instead?
Images are helpful. Let's take an example of this here, okay? So I'm sure this is very, very, in the project, this would have been very, very useful, right? I can guess what this is without even reading it.
Right.
But when you're trying to communicate to a new audience, hiring managers, this detail doesn't matter, right? You don't tell me what a content surface is. That's not a phrase I've heard before, right? So what is a content surface? Why does it matter? Thanks, Ratta. So you don't actually need to include this entire table, right? You can just say, I created a content surface for this reason. I did it by doing this, this, and this, and it had this impact, right? The amount of content here, this is what I'm trying to say, that there's too much because you're giving too much details to me as a new audience that I don't need these details. And then, so I've got to the bottom, outcome, okay? Designs have a potential to prevent drop-off. Okay, so this doesn't tell me if this even became real work or if this shipped, right? Because you say it has a potential, but you don't tell me that it did change the drop-off.
This is the project that has been launched to real life.
So you need to tell me that, right? Because the way this is, particularly when you say new feature launch, and I look at the date, it was January this year, it makes it seem like this was a real, like this became real. So you need to tell me at the beginning that, this was something, maybe it was a prototype, maybe it was an experiment, for whatever reason.
Right.
So I think that would be my recommendations, Brian, is reduce the word count as much as possible. If you have more images, that's great. Remember what I said about scannability. The speed I'm actually scrolling now is usually the speed I scroll at because I'm just trying to get a high level understanding.
Very quick.
Thumbs up.
Cool. Thanks, Brian. I hope that was helpful.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
You too. Okay, Ratta, let's. Who's next?
James,
Erica Norris. Erica, do you want to just briefly give me something to respond to?
James, so today I think the ADPList have the issue. So we can mute ourselves when someone's speaking. So if I'm speaking, you can mute yourself first, so it do not echo. I know it's an issue, but I cannot leave the call. If I leave the call, everything gonna be in. So it's gonna be like this. Yeah. So now you can turn on.
No worries. Erica, do you want to just briefly tell us what you'd like me to look at? Are you there, Erica?
If not here.
Erica, are you able to come on mic? Otherwise, we'll move on to the next person. Okay, Ratta, who's next?
Okay.
Oh, Erica, no, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I think we can hear you now. Can you speak one more time, Erica?
Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead, Erica.
Yeah, so I've been applying to jobs constantly and not getting any response at all. And I guess my question is really just like, why am I not getting response? Is there anything that stands out in my portfolio that's really a negative or a, something that stands against me? I don't have like a specific question, but if anything just stands out to you as someone not to hire, I guess is my question.
Sure thing. I'll take a quick look, but I just want to, firstly, I'm sorry that's the situation. Like, it is globally difficult to get hired into UX jobs at the moment at all levels. What I find deeply frustrating is that companies that don't respect us as humans in the world and don't do the common courtesy of a response. So I'm sorry that you're having that experience. So I would say like that's probably the number one thing, is that there's just a lot of companies that are new or immature and just don't have particularly great hiring processes. Let's have a look at your site though. So Erica, UI UX designer, digital designer with a background in healthcare awareness, passionate about solving problems, creating user-centered, data-driven, attractive design. Sure. So I'll just take a look at one. I'll just look at your top. In fact, no, let's look at something that took a bit longer. Let's look at an 8-week project. So it's a small non-profit organization. offers services, timeline, 8 weeks, your role, team, okay, fine. I'm not going to open that presentation link, but I like the fact that you've got a video you can link to. That if this was a real life situation, I would probably go and have a look at the first few minutes of that. Okay. Interestingly, you don't really, and this is true for everyone, right? You don't really need to explain to me as a hiring manager or as a design manager how the design process works. This usually indicates to me someone that's at the beginning of their career, because I know how this works, and I would hope that you do as well. So you can kind of get straight into the details, right? So you did some research, cool. I think similar with Brian, right? There's a lot of words already. This paragraph, you need to get rid of half of it. And each one of these bullet points, if you can make them half the length of the number of words, maybe slightly larger text so I can keyword scan, that's going to help. I like that you're linking off to a real research report. That's very cool. I would look at that. Yeah, you've done personas, you've done an empathy map, fine. Competitive audit, yeah. Site map. Okay, I'm always very, very happy when I see photos of physical objects, so whiteboards, sketches, notebooks. That makes me very happy. I think it's really important that we spend as much time away from the screen as we do on it. So that's great. Okay, fairly simple site map into wireframes. Again, sketch wireframes first, makes me very happy. Then you've made a digital wireframe. Okay. There's a link to the wireframes that I can go explore. That's good. You got some designs. Link to the prototype. You've done some testing on it. Just a little tip, right? I hate that people call it user testing because we're not testing our users. You've said it correctly there, right? We're usability testing. Just a small little peeve. Okay, so it's not very clear to me what's going on here. I'm guessing that, so this is probably your insights. This is a little bit difficult to understand, especially with not a lot of time. I think your image is stretched as well. I would encourage you, Erica, to update your images. It's really not a good look when you've got lorem ipsum in a mock-up. Particularly now with generative AI, it's not difficult to create realistic content. That might be something that's putting people off if you're working with lorem ipsum, because it just means that like you're doing design when you don't actually have realistic content. So that would make me question your process a little bit. Reflections and next steps at the end. That's very good. So no, I don't see anything immediately obvious that like, no, you are unemployable. I think that I've just shared with you some small details that you can improve there.
Can I ask what browser you're using? Because it looks like I'm on. Is it Chrome?
I'm on Firefox.
Firefox, okay.
Cool.
You're on mute again, James. Sorry.
Thank you. I was just, Erica, sorry, I was saying my browser is Firefox.
1 minute left.
1 minute left.
Thanks, Ratta. I was just adding, this is a guess based on my experience, but this is probably also not helping. There's a lot of people in the last few years, especially since COVID, that have done UX boot camps or conversion courses. There's a lot of people that have come into the industry, and that's really great because there's lots of work to be done, and we need a more diverse workforce. What's difficult though is so many people have come through at the same time. There's actually too many candidates for the number of jobs available. So the fact that you're at the beginning of your design career is probably something that's not helping in terms of if a company needs, if they've got work that needs to be done, and they want to hire someone that they can just like put straight onto the work. So if you're confident in your ability to work alone or to join a team, consider how you might communicate that. Something along the lines of, I've only got 18 months design experience, but here's other relevant experience, or here's things that I've done that make you employable, make you that demonstrate you can work as part of a team. Unfortunately, there's not an awful lot you can do, right? You came into the industry when you came in, but that's probably also what's fitting into having difficulty with your applications.
James, time.
Thanks, Ratta.
So much.
No worries. Okay, who's next?
Sabina. I sent it on.
Sorry, Ratta, can you repeat?
Sabina.
Okay, Sabina, do you mind just coming on mic and just quickly saying what you'd like me to look at?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. I come from the UI, and I'm trying to get to the UX field. So I think the thing I'm struggling with the most is a lot of my work is very visual and based mostly on interfaces. But I want to kind of show a lot of the research that I did do and I did contribute to when I was working. So I just wanted to see if maybe the way I lay out my information and the kind of visuals that I do show are good enough to kind of apply for UX jobs.
Okay, cool. Let's take a look. So my name is Sabina. I'm a product designer with a background in graphic and service design. My international experience gave me a wide understanding of how culture and technology exist in mutually responsive ways. Okay, that's a little bit fluffy for my tastes. That's not something useful for me in terms of like, would I consider hiring you? You've developed a design process that uses research to unveil truths and offer solutions. I'm not sure that you've developed the design process. That just is the design process. I would caution, I don't know if this is intentional, but I would caution against the amount of typographic variation you have going on here. You've got a lot of different sizes. You've got the italics, you've got the bold. It's actually quite noisy. Makes it difficult to read. Let's take, what should we look at? UX UI design. Let's look at professional training program. Okay. Immediately, as I said before, right, I'm hit with this wall of text. So my heart immediately sinks because I don't want to read it. I can see that you've bolded the key things there, but is there some of this that you can remove? Like, revolutionizing the approach to training with digital solutions. As someone who doesn't work for Sensei, I don't really care. That's marketing copy there, right? So Sensei is a platform that does X, and then maybe you go straight to your bold text, right? So a personalized and free space to organize your exchanges, follow your training and progress in the development of your skills. Okay, I think I get it. I mean, to be honest, maybe that's all you actually need because that says the same thing. So, okay, research. Oh, what's going on? Okay, I'm not sure I like that. Interestingly, if I press research, you're jumping me past your introduction stuff there. So you're either missing something, problem at the start, or you want to revisit that. Your problem. So low retention rates. People would join and not complete their training. Fine. Platform goals. Tailor platform to streamline different user needs. Okay, that's a little bit abstract and not quite sure what that means. Grow active users, retain active users and measurements. So, design goals, UI design the goal for the UI. Okay, so your question, you've just answered. So your question was, as someone from a graphic design background, are you communicating enough your interest and contributions to research? I was about to say, you haven't told me what the problem, like what the user goals are or what the problem space is. You've got user needs here, 15 students. Oh, hang on. So there's an interesting thing here in terms of your structure. If you think of the narrative, this problem is a business problem, right? Retention rates were low, right? The problem isn't saying students are beginning and not completing because reason, right? So this is a business problem. If the situation was the company saw this in the stats and they didn't know why, therefore some user research was conducted, you can say that really explicitly. And I think maybe you might even want to bring this user needs or user problems a little bit higher. Because again, if you're saying actually you're focusing on using your graphic design, your product design, your interface design skills to solve research-based problems, reflect that in how you structure the order that you show the information to me. Discovery, again, okay, so I like your big bold headings. I don't like how much text there is, especially because it's quite small. Discovery, introductory video call, features introduced. Okay, you're talking about discovery, but then you're talking about features introduced. I don't really know.
1 minute, yeah.
Thanks, Ratta. Yeah, that doesn't, without reading it, that doesn't seem like discovery to me. That's just saying you've added some features. Evaluating the feature value. Okay, well, and now you're into a UI library. There's quite a jump there, right? 1 minute we're talking about a discovery and something to do with features, and now all of a sudden you're creating the components for a UI library. That doesn't follow. There's a big gap there. Interesting as well. I wouldn't have this stuff before you're doing wireframes. Like I strongly believe that we follow a continuous iterative design process, right? That increases fidelity over time. So if you're making these pixel perfect decisions before you've even figured out the wireframe and the information architecture structure, that suggests to me that your process is back to front. Homepage designs, okay. I mean, visually they look all right. I'm not particularly interested in large mock-ups like this because, again, I don't know how you've got to that. There's a lot of information captured in these mock-ups, and I don't know what it's based on. Cool. Thanks, Ratta. Yeah, so that's my first impressions. I think, obviously your visual design skills are solid. You said that you want your hiring manager audience to understand or to see that you are very, very interested in research. Cool. Make that a lot more prominent, particularly at the top levels of your case studies there. Cool.
Okay, so next one.
Meeting.
Kimberly? Okay.
Yes.
Kimberly, can you quickly tell me what you'd like me to look at? Are you still there, Kimberly?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Basically, I'm fighting with the content in my project pages because I receive a lot of feedback telling me either that it's too much text or not enough. Let's say it's not explanatory enough. So I would love to have your feedback from that perspective because right now I have a very nice 50-50 on each side, and I don't know if they're still self-explanatory enough or if I should work further on it.
Okay, so look at the amount of copy that you've got, and by scanning the page, can I
Yeah,
understand?
let's talk about it. Is it still easy?
Cool. Okay, so hi, I'm Kim, visual designer. So let's go into, am I just looking at this page or can I click into them?
You can click to the one with the NDA.
First thing I would ask you to do is to replace that arrow with something more obvious, like read or open or view case study, something like don't make me think, right? That could just be an icon for style. Okay, so empowering customer centricity, about the project, challenge, resistance to change. So about the project. So you're talking about journey to introduce customer research. You're talking about our organization, but I don't know what the organization is or what it does. So you probably want to spell that out a bit more. Resistance to change. Resistance to what change? So if it's about working in a customer-centric way, maybe your title can say resistance to changing ways of working or resistance to being more customer-centric. So again, spell that out. Lack of customer knowledge. Okay, fine. I'm not sure how these images relate to the sections, like lack of customer knowledge, but then you're showing me a customer journey, which would I don't know what you're explaining to me there. Disconnect between effort and impact. Learning before doing, okay. The approach, research phase is aimed at building a customer journey. Okay, so that's a little bit confusing, right? If a customer journey map or whatever did not exist, but then you're showing me examples of it before I get to that point, that you've confused me a bit, like what existed, what's new. Responsibilities, So in terms of if you want to reduce your word count, you can get responsibilities to 3 bullet points with like 5 to 10 words per line, right? I was in charge of auditing, right? You know, auditing company resources, including data collection. That makes the point in half the words. Time frame, I don't really care about that. Building phase. So we've talked a lot about typography today. Can someone mute, please? So you've got your main headings. You've got this larger text as well as your body text. So this is helpful, right? You've got a clear information hierarchy there. So you're going to create an overall map, including goals, needs, KPIs, etc. Yep, fine. Yeah, I don't think these time frame things are doing anything for you. This image I love. This makes me happier than anything, because what this tells me is you don't just sit behind your screen all day. You actually get out not only into the real world, but you collaborate with other people, right? There's post-its. I'm guessing you've done some kind of review or conversation discussion. You've created this physical asset that you've brought people around to have conversations. So this is great. I like that it acts as that transition as well. That's a nice implementation. Enablement phase. That's a little bit jargony. I don't really know what you mean by that. Okay, so if it's spreading it throughout the company, what's a CJ? Yeah, I think you could use slightly plainer language here. Is this an embedded Dubry? Okay, cool. So these are your slides from a workshop that you've run. That's cool. What happens if I want to read more?
Oh no, I would not. That's the long version of the project.
Okay. I don't think you need a short version and a long version. As we said, right, that for everyone on the call today, you need to do the hard work of simplifying and being succinct for me as your target audience, right? If there's one thing you take away today, recruiters are time poor. They are going to go through. A lot of people don't even think through at the level that I'm doing now. They're just basically looking at the visual elements. So I think this is fine as a piece of work. Certainly you can reduce some of the words, make more use of your headings and this secondary text, right? This is very easy for me to read. You can reduce some of the elements. I just don't think the time frame is particularly useful. You can have one of these at the top for the whole project. Where you've got these bullet points, you can make the word count less. I think then you're okay. Cool. Okay, Ratta, who's next?
Okay. Lalisa. Yep. Lalisa.
Can you hear me?
Is it this one, Lara Samos?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, how are you? Thanks, James, for taking the time. So I'm pivoting from architectural design, 13 years of design field, and I'm changing into UX, UI. But the thing is that I also have a developer skill set. So the projects that I have shown there, I've designed and developed, and I think it's just getting a little confusing as to how I can disseminate all of the information that I want to show, especially from the architectural profession, because there's a bunch of user experience studies that I've done for architecture, but that's for physical space, and I wanted to understand whether I should even show those, and just your feedback in general.
Cool. Yeah, I'll take a look. So that's very impressive. You're an architect, a developer, and a designer. You're making us look bad now.
No, but it's confusing.
Okay, so can I just check? Is it Lara Samos or Larissa Moss?
Larissa Moss.
Larissa, okay. Embracing a multidisciplinary approach to user-centered design and development, I aim to bridge the gap between the physical and digital realm. I think you could probably say this in plainer language, because what's really interesting is, sure, user-centric, but it's design and development, right? If this because this is your shop window, this is this opening statement. If this said, I'm a trained architect who spent 5 years as a software developer and is now moving into user experience design, that's crystal clear. It's still industry jargon, but it's crystal clear exactly what your skill set and your experience is. And I would imagine and hope that actually your skills are very much in demand to be able to both do development and design. I'm just going to take a look at Curbit. Okay, so an app for discovering unique street furniture. Well, that sounds fun. Okay, role as a design lead, technology fine. So I can go play with it if I want. Right. Tell you what, give me a moment. I'm just going to silently read this. Okay. So where's the problem that you're trying to solve? I'll leave that as a rhetorical question. Even if this is a personal project or a passion project, and sometimes we do just have an idea that comes to us, but you've gone straight into the concept. I envisioned an app that transforms furnishing New York homes into a thrilling treasure hunt. Where's that idea come from, right?
It's in the challenge. It's in the challenge. The next.
Right. I'm not sure it is. In online groups for free New York homes, the missing map feature hindered item location. The missing map feature. The lack of a claiming mechanism for uncertainty. This is quite complicated language. The absence of categorization made items. I don't really know what you're telling me here, if I'm honest with you. If this is a description of the problem statement, certainly you want to have it first, right? Before you're showing me pictures of an interface design or what the concept was, like starting with, okay, here is the need. Whatever the free New York item listing sites are, they do not include, a visualization of their location. Okay, how do you know that's a problem beyond just your own experience? Like, is there a chat forum where everyone's complaining about it? Have you contacted the company and they're like, oh, we've never thought about adding a map, or we can't afford to add a map? Like, I would encourage you to kind of tell that story a bit clearer, how you knew this was a problem and that it was worth solving. Because it also puts a question in my mind, why create an entire app if your problem is just, I don't know where that free chair is located in the city, rather than an extension to those services that already exist, or some kind of plugin, or you could have created a browser extension, right, that links off from those free listings. So I just think you need to paint a picture a bit more of why it was worth the effort of creating a new standalone app. In terms of the case study itself, there's still a little bit of text going on, but because because this case study is shorter than some of the other ones you've seen, there's not too many words overall. So I would probably skim read this in reality. What I do like is the amount of visuals that you have. So you've got these little GIFs that represent. Thanks, Ratta. This implementation. I really like this. Like, not only is your I'm going to assume you did these by hand, in which case you have beautiful illustration style. But like I said before, I really like those tangible assets that show moving from low fidelity to high fidelity as you get more confident in your solution. So this is good. Yeah, really nice illustration stuff there. Excuse me. You probably want to have a bit more final design, right? Because actually, you're not really telling me anything. You're showing me a pack shot of like a home screen and a sign-in screen. Like, there's no customer journey. There's no like you don't give me a sense of the size or complexity of this app, how I would interact with it. So if you have some more assets that show kind of the information architecture or the customer journey, or like a service map of how this thing fits into real life, I think that would be more interesting, just so I can understand like what it looks like in the real world. I've probably got about 30 seconds left, so I'm going to jump into there.
If you just go to the last, it would be better because it's the architecture.
Oh, is this the same thing? I'm not sure how you've implemented your portfolio. These animations are a bit much, I think, because they're very distracting. You've also got an accessibility problem, right, in terms of people that may not respond so well to animations or unexpected movement. For some reason, okay, can I just show you this? If I hover over that architecture one, if you look at the link in the bottom, hang on. Do you see the link in the bottom left? That headline is going to your Kerbit case study. So I think that's just been implemented wrong. If I click the learn more, it goes to the right one. I will stop there. By all means, if you want to reach out to me on ADP and we can set up a session, I can have a look at you. That's true for any of you actually. We're getting through them very quickly. I think we'll do 2 more, Ratta. But if anyone who I've spoken about today or we haven't got to, by all means, reach out on ADPList, and we can follow up in a bit more detail, a little bit slower.
Okay, James, next one.
Kevin, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, James. Hi, James.
Hi.
I have a very Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh gosh. If you can hear me now, James.
Yeah, we can.
My portfolio. I was a visual designer for a long time and switched into accessibility. I was more of an accessibility coach, and I helped stop defects before they started. I coach with the UX and content teams, and the only thing I really have to show in my portfolio is mainly before and after screenshots of what got built and then what was there before, due to what I can show in my portfolio because of legal reasons. So I don't have the sketches like wireframes, and I didn't do that type of work. I just want to get a general overview of my portfolio and thoughts around what I put in summary area versus details of an accordion object to show details on what the case studies were. Thank you. And you're on mute, James. Sorry.
I just realized that. Thank you. Okay, Kevin. So general overview and then summary versus details. So let me just get orientated. That's very cool. I like that a lot. Okay, I think probably on your homepage. Now I haven't read this, so I'm jumping ahead a little bit. It's cool that you're saying problem and solution, but because in your summary section here, you're actually already giving me a lot of text and images. You can see this page is quite long to scroll, even though there's 4 thumbnails to go into your case studies. I would probably make these lighter. Let me show an example. So this is one of my ADPList mentees. I really like her, the way she structured her portfolio, but it's just a good example, right? An interesting graphic or visual element to capture attention, the title of the project and what kind of work it was, and then you just click through. I think that's probably better because, am I actually going to read all 4 of these summaries here before deciding to read them, or am I going to do what I actually do, which is I'm just going to open them up? Okay. I was expecting that to open in a new page, if I'm honest with you, because what I would normally do is I would go through and I would do this. Right? If I'm in real mode, I do this, and then I scan through pretty much at this speed. And if I like what I'm seeing, which obviously I do with Remy's, there's lots of graphics, she's using highlighting, it's very easy to get a gist, then I would come back and I would read through in more detail. So there may be an accessibility reason that you're using the show height panel here. The problem is it means that I can only consume this content in a linear manner because this is quite long now. So I'm not so sure about that. Again, with the words, there's a lot of words here, right? The vibe I'm getting without having taken the time to read your actual content, this feels more like a report or something that I might actually interact with in the workplace rather than a portfolio or kind of trying to showcase what you achieved. Now, heard what you said in terms of you can only really show what the thing was before you did an audit and then what it was like after. That's fair enough. But perhaps you're able to show a screenshot of a document, right? The Word document where you took your notes, or maybe there's a spreadsheet template that you use to do assessments with, or maybe you can use a screenshot of you ran an accessibility audit on the page. It got a score of 30 red. You made some changes and then you ran it and you got a score of 80 green. There are other things you can do that just demonstrate the process that you took. It may be that some of that is already in here. Like I said, I'm not reading it. I would encourage you, I think you can probably make this a little bit easier for your audience by layout, because everything is a single column here, right? Which is fine when it's nice, narrow viewpoint like that. But when you're at these wider things, you've got a lot of empty space that you're not making use of. So for example, if you're at the very least, we could do something like this. Am I going to have to do this quickly in time? Right, you imagine these sections were 50%, so you could actually get 2 on a row. All of a sudden, you'd reduce the height by half. That just makes it easier to scan. Similarly here, right, you've got these very long line lengths, which means you're leaving a lot of empty space here. You could actually have a 2-column layout. So this text could sit up here. You'd make it feel.
One minute left.
Thanks, Ratta. You can make it feel just from a layout perspective that the case studies are lighter. I think I would consider putting them onto their own pages just so they've got a little bit more room to breathe and they're not clashing with everything else. If you want to have a follow-up conversation, let's talk about that, because I'm sure there's very good reasons why it's laid out this way. I can't say that I've ever seen a portfolio that does the same thing, where you just kind of expand the summary out the way you're doing here. So I would be interested to know what led to that decision. If you have more images, by all means do them. Use them. I like, without having read this too much, I do like that you're using the thumbnails and then you've got a little bit of text that goes with it. So I think, yeah, maybe with a little bit more focus on the typesetting, just to make this a bit easier to read. I'm sure the content-wise that it's fine. Cool. I hope I've touched on some useful ideas there for you.
Thank you, James. Thank you, James.
No worries. Okay, Ratta.
Last one is Justin.
Justin?
Yes.
Cool. Justin, you want to give me a quick briefing?
Good morning. Thanks for looking at my portfolio. Yeah, so I'm making a career switch, and I guess my feedback that I'm looking for is if I'm telling an effective story, I don't necessarily need to, voice that I am a UX bootcamp person. However, I don't know if it's necessary, and I haven't had it looked at by anyone as far as like a hiring manager. So I know that your job is to kind of get effective people through. So, just looking at it, is it effective right up front? Because I know that you kind of just pass it along to someone else.
Cool. Yeah, I can do that. Just a small correction on that. So I am a trained designer. More recently in my career, I've been a design lead and design manager. So actually, for me, when I am actively doing recruitment, I will guide candidates all the way through the process. So I'll partner with the hiring team. So I'll hopefully can give you a little bit more details and not just pass you along. Okay, so Justin, you create and refine things. You're curious, empathetic, and then passionately imaginative. Wow, that's difficult to say. I would encourage you just to check your color contrast on these colors. They're a little bit difficult to read. You can use accessibility tools just to check whether the contrast with the white background is enough. Let's see where that takes me. Okay. I'm not loving that animation, to be honest with you, because what this means, like it's cute in terms of, you're making the page come alive. I understand that, but it means that I actually can't do what you've been seeing me do for the last hour. I can't actually just scan the entire page and then go back and forth and cross-reference things. I'm actually moving my mouse as we go here, and there's a little bit of a time delay. So It may be that you're perfectly happy with this. That's fine. So your brief UX story, I cannot see your story in one go, which, speaking personally, like I like to do that, right? I want to be able to kind of see all the information and navigate it in a way that works for me. Let's go, you're saying about telling an interesting story. So let's have a look at a case study. See case study, okay. MVP created by skateboarders for skateboarders, cool. I like that, that's really clear. So even though, you know, MVP is jargon language, like I immediately know what I'm about to look at. Developing an end-to-end application, it was an MVP, cool. You don't need to like tell me any of that. That's just noise, right? You can say, you know, push is an MVP, blah, blah, blah. It connects skateboarders, valuable resources, so you can reduce your word count there. Okay, you know what comes next? Too many words, I'm not going to read it. I do like that you're using the highlighting to catch my attention. So objective was to design an MVP. Okay, there's some repetition there. Prioritize simplicity. Again, stuff like this. I'm going to say this with love, Justin. It's very obvious when I'm looking at someone that's recently come out of the boot camp, right? We saw on someone's portfolio earlier, there was that graphic that is the empathize, ideate, I see that pretty much on every boot camp graduate's portfolio. Similar to this, right? You don't need to tell me that you're using a design thinking process, right? You're a designer that I'm considering to hire for my job. I already know that you're doing that. And if you're not doing that, I'm going to figure that out pretty quickly and not be interested. So in terms of reducing your word count, you can get rid of things like this, right? What's important is you prioritize simplicity and usability, and you're trying to reflect that against skateboarding. Cool. Yeah, I like that you've got some custom graphics here, but I'm not interested in that. Okay, what problems do skateboarders face? Excellent, is what we've been saying, right? Start with the problems. So they face a deficiency in a well-defined system for that language is a bit complex there, right? It's hard for skateboarders to discover skateboarding-friendly locations, right? Half the words, way simpler to understand. Skateboarders experience issues aligning schedules with other enthusiasts. I'm guessing you mean like they find it hard to figure out when they can meet up. So maybe just review your language here. Like plain English is all of our best friends. Observational research next to a photo of you at a skate park or somebody at a skate park, love it, right? Again, I don't need to read it, right? You've done research and interviews, and I can see the location you did. That's actually all I need to know. This is interesting. So I'm going to guess if I expand that, I get more details. So we've talked, and this is for all of you, right? We've actually talked a lot today about how do you reduce that word count, keep it as easy to scan as possible. This is quite a good idea that by having that minimized to begin with, I can see that Justin's considered goals, he's spoken to 5 interviewees, and I can see the type of question. If I'm interested, I can expand it. But on that first glance, it's not kind of cluttering up the page, adding to a really, really long page length. So if you're not familiar with it, the technique is called progressive disclosure. It just means that you reveal information a bit at a time as the user indicates an interest. So I think that's quite a good technique there, Justin.
Okay,
Key findings. Cool, I'm going to give it 2 minutes. Key findings. Again, there's some good information hierarchy here, right? You've got a little icon that represents the idea. You've got the subheading, which I can just keyword scan, and then some detail if I want it. Quotes always good. Persona, cool. IA, yeah. Oh, I like this very much. I'm now gonna contradict myself, Justin. So hopefully you'll forgive me. I would actually do the opposite of what I just suggested, particularly because you've grayed out these other options. Right? It actually looks like they're disabled. I would have all these images available in line. So remember my kind of scanning behavior, right? Vertically, I'm just scrolling through to see what's there. I just did it then, right? As I scrolled down, I saw there was a persona. You had the example. I'm not going to read this persona. All that matters is you created a persona. I can see it's got the things I expect to have. Cool. So with these things, you're actually hiding 4/5 of really, really valuable content. So I'd probably say show all of these, not in this like carousel item. I don't know if that's meant to be cropped like that, but yeah, I would show that up front. So as I'm scrolling through, I can see it. And as artifacts, they look great. I very much like your process, right? Start with the sitemap, the basic information architecture, start to add more detail around task flows and then into a user flow, and eventually you're building up to a wireframe. So you're asking about telling an interesting story, even though you are not typing or literally stating a story. This is a story right here. Right? I can see where you began, how you built up the detail, and eventually got to your wireframe. So your storytelling there is solid. Brand identity, fine. I won't click through now. Developing a prototype. I actually really hate the way you're presenting this because they're so small and they're on that isometric view. They're meaningless. Right? I actually can't read them. I would encourage you just to lay them out in a in a 2D larger grid, so I can actually just see what the details of the screens are and get a sense of what the app is. Fine. So good mix of images and text here. I like this. This is something I have a conversation a lot with folks on ADPList, is like show the iteration, literally, right? Here's, this is the sketch version, this is the wireframe version, this is the version I did usability testing, here's the iteration. Just allow me to do this side-by-side comparison. That's always good. So you've done testing. I think your carousel is okay here because I'm guessing this is 5 different insights or things you've looked at within your usability testing. Again, I would encourage you not to be too cute with these graphics. Like, look at this. Look at these background screens. There's actually no point to them. I can't read them. They're not doing. They're not actually not serving a purpose other than to be an illustrative asset, and they're just distracting from these. Whereas if you have these 3 screens, like 2D facing me side by side, so I can actually read them, that's much more useful. Some more quotes, cool. Prototype, similar again. Embedded video for prototype is great because I can just put that, I can play that, put it at 2 speed and get a sense for using the thing. And then some reflections. So yeah, I think by and large, this is good. Hopefully the thoughts I've shared there is useful if you want to refine it. But I think, yeah, I don't see any obvious problems with your storytelling. It seemed that was easy to follow along. Cool. Ratta, I'm done.
Yes, so we're done for today.
We've only gone over by 11 minutes this time, so we're getting better.
James, do you want to share the survey first?
Can you say again?
The survey form.
Yes. Cool. Okay, folks. We really hope that was useful. Just up on your screen now, either the QR code or the bit.ly link. It will take you to a Google form, which is very, very short. Take you like a minute to fill out. Your feedback's really valuable. This is the 3rd time we've done these sessions. We're trying to do them every few months. So please share what was good, what was bad, what did I miss, what could be better. And then you'll actually be able to download a copy of these slides just in case you want to reference the top 10 tips or get the link to the 20-minute recording. Thank you all very much.
QR code is not.
I cannot
the QR code's not working?
See.
Okay. Take a screenshot. So I've updated the bit.ly link. I know that definitely is working. And thank you for the heads up on the QR code. I will get that fixed for next time.
It's not showing. It's not showing.
It's not showing?
Yeah, it's not showing. It's not showing.
Oh, sorry. I thought I had my whole screen on. Just a second. There we go.
Okay, for last minute, I want to tell the people that are looking for a job. The job right now in North America is very challenging. So the thing that you can do is keep applying for a job. So don't give up because like you never know when the opportunity will come. So apply as much as you can. I know it should be only the one that you really like but I recommend like if you have healthcare experience, so please apply a job in healthcare experience because people value someone that have the work related already. But yeah, just keep doing that since the market is very challenged. And thank you so much for all of you to joining for today. And thank you, James. It's our 3rd time and we are looking forward to the next time as well. Your feedback is going to be valuable to us to improve everything. And have a good morning, have a good night, have a good evening to all of you around the world. Yeah, I think James gonna go to have dinner. It's gonna be has long day for him, and believe me, James done a lot of workshop, folks. So yeah, thank you so much, James, and see you for next time.
Thank you as well,
Thank you so
Ratta.
much,
Good to see you.
James.
Have a good morning, day, or night, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us.